So now resource has become slightly more cheaper. So previously, like maybe 5 years back, were you able to buy a smartphone so easily with like 2 GB of RAM and 4 GB of RAM, or for say laptop itself, right? 2 GB of RAM was like very big one, right? But today if you see 16 GB and 32 GB of RAM, you get so easily, right? So your hardware is very easily accessible, but your hardware resource is lying very much unutilized, right? And have you heard about this green computing? So what do you understand by that? Green computing.
Yes, mining on resource.
Okay. So how better you are utilizing your resource, right? You know that my application, I'm going to run say 2 servers, and 2 servers, say each of them needs say 4 GB of RAM and say two core CPUs, right? And to run this, you need power supply, right? You need power to run these servers, correct? So what would happen when you do this? You need to if you try to put everything on a single server and utilize the resource properly, instead of running 2 machines, now you have to run only 1 machine. So you are cutting down the power consumption, and by then you are contributing to the greener environment, right? So that's what green computing is about, right? So this is how we start, like small steps, right? Now when we go to the virtualization, what happens? You have your single server, but you try to imagine that in that one server there are like say for example 3 servers, right? So you bought one single hardware and you have brought the hardware is having say 8 GB of RAM, and then it is having say 16 CPU cores, right? So what would you can imagine, like I want 3 servers with say 4 CPU cores and then say 3 GB of RAM, right? But the hardware is same, but you're imagining there are like 3 servers running, right? So that is what we call it as virtualization. So how this is achieved? You have your server, you install a base OS, an operating system, and on top of that you install a software called hypervisor. This hypervisor helps you to imagine that or create virtually that, oh, there are 3 boxes in this, right? So that is what your hypervisor helps. Now when after this, you can create like any number of VMs with the available resources, right? So now we started with, we said we have 16 GB RAM, we have say 32 cores. Now what I would do, I would say let me create say 3 servers, 4 GB RAM for 4 cores, right? So I can create into 3. Still I will be left with little resource, but I would have at least utilized 80% of my resources, right? So I am not wasting my resources, correct? So now once you have created a VM, now within the VM it is up to you how you want to do, right? Say for example, you are running some server, you need say Linux and then JDK you are installing, right? Somebody else is using some server, they don't want JDK, they don't want Linux, they want say Windows to be run, right? So they will install Windows server on that and they will install their own things, right? But on the same hardware, now you are able to run different OS, you are able to run different application, right?